fans, welcome to this week's Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast, where this week we'll be discussing the episodes that aired between the 4th to the 7th of August 2025. How are you all? Joining me today is the fabulous Rob. Hello, Rob. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you, Ree. How are you this week?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I
What?
went to bed quite late last night. I fell into a YouTube rabbit hole. Have you ever done this, where you start watching something and then all of a sudden you've been watching YouTube for about 7 hours and you've watched like 76 videos on the same topic and it's 4 o'clock in the morning? I got upset. I've never been a massive watcher of Hollyoaks. I've sort of dipped in and
Yeah.
out of it over the years. I never saw first time round the John Paul and Craig storyline from
Oh, I
2006.
did.
Oh, I
I
was
did.
gripped.
Loved
Absolutely
it.
gripped. I was lying in
Yeah, it
bed,
was good.
utterly gripped by that. It's at 3 o'clock this morning, just utterly absorbed by it. So good. So
Peak
good.
Hollyoaks that time, that
Oh,
era, I'd
yeah.
say.
And
Yeah,
hot.
very
I would.
peak.
Jeez. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm not going to say, 2006, to do all that, brave. At 6:30 in the evening on Channel 4, fair play, I would say.
Shows you how far we've come, doesn't it?
It really,
2006 went that. Oh, mind you, don't
well,
read quite a while ago
apparently,
now.
there wasn't a massive. I was because now all I do is when I find something on a soap that I'm obsessed with, I now have to research the storyline and see how it was reacted to and all this kind of
Yeah.
thing. Apparently, right, not that many complaints about it, and yet when Saeed was happening a few years later on BBC One, people were having heart attacks at seeing the pair of them in bed together, doing absolutely nothing but just lying in bed together. It's ridiculous, really, isn't it?
That's because of the audience age, I would say. Because obviously
Demographics.
Hollyoaks always a much
Yeah,
younger
yeah.
audience. You can't imagine who you might expect to react
Mm,
like a middle-aged boomer sitting and watching Hollyoaks
yeah,
anyway, would you?
yeah.
Whereas they're
Really
more
good.
likely to be watching EastEnders going, oh,
Oh, yeah, really,
never
really
heard of
good.
such a thing in my life.
I know. Oi, Ree, see you tomorrow, mate.
Yeah.
Me and Ree
See
are
you
meeting up
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
Rob.
Me and Ree are meeting up tomorrow. I'm having a little trip to Lincoln, and Ree's not that far away from there. So we thought we'd have a little meet up, maybe have a drink,
Yeah.
maybe have a drink or two.
Halfway point for it. Well, it's where we met. Come
It's where
on.
we
It's where we
met.
went to university.
It is. Me and Ree are taking a trip down memory lane. It's going to be like an episode of Who Do You Think You Are? It's going to be marvelous. Can't wait. It's going to be lovely to see you. So we look
See,
forward to that.
I think that we should be recording bits, but Rob's like, no, come on.
You know why? Because
No
I'm
one
the
will
one
be
that's got to edit it.
interested.
That's
I
why.
know, that's true. That's true.
Let me just drink in peace, would you? Right. This week's EastEnders,
Yes.
a step up, I think, from last. I really enjoyed this week. I thought it was really, really good. Some good stories coming to the forefront. No more, less so than the Joel storyline. Oh,
Oh
it's
my gosh.
uncomfortable and sort of
Mm.
awkward and really, really good. And Max Murray is doing an incredible job as Joel, isn't he?
Yeah, because you know what? I'd not even considered what an incredible job he's doing because I just hate Joel.
Hate him.
So great. He's doing a
Yeah.
great job
Really
because I
good.
do
I
hate
think
him.
he's like really natural, and actually, he might be a
Yeah,
really unpleasant character, but actually, I think he's quite a believable character as well. So he's doing it really, really
very.
well. Mm,
Yeah, he's doing it really well. And like you say, the past 2 weeks before we've been complaining about the pacing, but I think it's clear that that was just to set up the storylines, and now
yeah,
we seem to have gone back to a bit of a normal pace, hopefully.
yeah.
So yeah, a
I
much better week, I'd
yeah,
say.
I thought it was quite a strong week this
Yeah.
week. So looking forward to discussing it in this week's Albert Square After Dark. Right, let's kick off this week with talking about Oscar. And a huge amount of madness went on here. So obviously, not Fat Mike is still sort of lurching around and being all intimidating, and all intimidating to Oscar anyway. Personally, I was of the opinion this week that Mike just needs a slap and he'd run away crying. To be fair,
Well, I actually have been thinking this, like, why don't Lauren just be like, oh, do you know what?
yeah, let's get that bit of branding.
Nanas, pal.
Yeah,
Just nanas,
exactly,
will you?
exactly.
Right? Not
Yeah,
giving you anything, you know. But he did try and petrol bomb Tanya's
yeah.
house, didn't
There
he?
is that. There is
I mean, he
that.
got the wrong house,
Oh, yeah, so he's not that
but
good at it, is he? He'd probably end up throwing a petrol bomb through the window of the
yeah,
Vic or something. Is that not where you live? Oh. So I mean, and he's one of these villains that like decides that. Because the thing is, I don't think that we've seen the last of him. Like the idea was this week that we'd seen the last of him because he was just paid off.
yeah.
But I don't think that we have, because he's clearly the sort that was like, 2 grand's not enough. I now want 5 grand. And it's sort of
Yeah.
like, what made you think that he was going to stop at that? I don't think we've
And
seen the last of
also,
him.
like, oh, look, they can actually get me this money, so why not keep
Mm.
going? Because you would, surely, right?
Of
If
course
you
you
think
would.
it's that easy
Of
to
course you
get
would. If
it.
someone can suddenly give you 5 grand in the space of a day just because
Yeah.
you're sort of looking a little bit threatening, of course you're going to
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah, exactly. If you're of that
Mm,
nature, so
of
like you said,
course.
or was it all just a set up for this stuff that Oscar did going to Patrick's
Yeah.
house and it is over? But I agree with you. And we were saying last week, weren't we, that we can there's gotta be some stabbing involved or the Queen Vic
Mm,
roof or something. It don't feel like it's
yeah.
over, does
No, this
it?
hasn't reached a climax because something's got
Yeah.
to bring Max back as well.
Mm. Yeah.
So
We
I
need a
feel like,
climax for
hey, we do
Max,
need a
right?
climax for Max. Oh, see, you're
Mm.
all over these little character name puns, aren't you? You love
I love
it.
a pun. Love a
Um,
pun.
so Oscar is kind of like at all twos and thumbs and thinking like, what the hell am I
Yeah.
supposed to do?
How am I
So
supposed to get this money?
how am I supposed to get this money? Like, it's a ridiculous sum of money to be able to get, because obviously he turned around and say, I want it by the end of the day. You know, that classic
Yeah.
old Montab, I want 100 million by the end of the day, otherwise I'm going to destroy your life.
Sure.
That
That's
sort of
easy,
thing.
isn't it?
Of course it is. So Oscar kind of has an idea, and we'll come back to what that idea is in a moment. Patrick and Yolandi, meanwhile, are at loggerheads because Patrick, Yolandi doesn't like him gambling. She's
Yeah.
decided that he's gambling too much. So last week we sort of left things there with him trying to convince Howie to do the gambling for him. Howie was all up for it because he's
Hmm.
feeling put out by Kim, who I didn't think Kim was that reasonable with Howie this week. I thought Kim was kind of a bit of a I thought Kim was out of order this week, if
A
I'm
bit of a
honest.
what? Yeah, out of
I was
order.
trying to think
That's
of
a
a
nice
word.
way of
I was
putting
trying
it,
to think of a
right?
word, and I
Yeah.
realised I couldn't think of one.
I agree with you. It's like, yeah, she was being very She wasn't being very
Mm.
sympathetic to a partner who's obviously got money troubles. That's the
No,
kind of thing that you're in together, right? If
yeah.
one of you's having troubles, you're both having troubles, surely.
And bearing in mind what Howie walked into, completely not his own
Yeah.
fault whatsoever. And she
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, and she was having a go at him, saying that he hadn't done enough and he hadn't seen
Mm.
enough, where obviously he was shocked. But the horse that they were betting on wins, and Patrick ends up winning 6 grand. Unfortunately, Yolandi sees him coming out of the betting shop and tells him there and then, right, the wedding's off, that's it, we're done. The Truman wedding is not happening, and sort of storms off. And Patrick's all like, no, man, and sort of kind of runs after her. That was Scottish more than anything else, I think.
I don't gonna say what on earth was that wrong.
No idea, somewhere in the world. So Patrick, we are reliably informed, keeps all his money underneath his trilby.
Of course.
Important. Of
That's
course he does. It kind of makes sense. I think that trilby's got to be
yeah.
good for something, right? That he's wearing all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Of
yeah.
course he's going to keep his most treasured possessions underneath the hat.
Yeah. I mean, he could have at least put it under bed or something. That's where they
I
normally put,
mean,
or at back of a wardrobe, isn't it?
yeah,
That's where they normally put it in soaps. But
yeah,
no,
no.
under the hat, which apparently is not that hard to find, is it, Bob?
Apparently not, especially when you leave it pride of place in the middle of the living room. Not that,
Yes.
yeah, not that clever, really, Patrick. So Oscar sees this sort of altercation going on and gets himself an idea that
Mm.
he's going to have that money to pay off not Fat Mike. So he dons this sort of ninja outfit. Like, ends up looking like some sort of
Where's he
really
even found that balaclava market? Probably
market,
get out on
probably. I
that
mean, I
market,
thought you
can't
looked
you?
like I thought you looked a bit like Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles myself.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Like
Because
his little
yeah,
eyes
yeah, yeah, yeah,
glaring through the
yeah.
gap in the balaclava. And breaks into the Truman house, finds this money, and just as he's sort of making his escape, Patrick comes home,
Yeah.
and it all goes horribly, horribly
Chaos
wrong.
ensues. So he ends up. He pretty much punched Patrick, didn't he? Because obviously Patrick tries to stop him and then he kind of reacts. But I don't think at any point was Oscar ever intending on hurting
Of course he
Patrick.
wasn't.
Not that it makes any of it okay,
No,
but
but I thought
he
fair
never
play to
thought
Patrick. Man in his mid-80s taking on this young
trying
burglar
to.
who's like, no, that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
right, mate. Fair play, Patrick.
Which I think Kim speculates down the line. She's like, if Patrick's walked in on him, he's not gone down without a fight, clearly,
Yeah,
which is what exactly
exactly.
what did happen. But Oscar, I don't think Oscar even thought ahead to, oh, what if someone comes back? Or what would I do? I think he just thought, I'll go in, out, done. They're all at the pub.
Yeah, yeah,
They're done.
yeah.
Panicked, hit Patrick. I actually watched it back because I was like, oh, we're just even pushing him off him.
I
But I
thought it
think
was a
he did
push.
go
Was
to
I
punch.
thought it was a punch?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
he kind of punched him off him.
Right,
So
okay.
he did, if I'm honest with you. Like, he did punch him because I was like, That when that happened, I was like, "That's it. Oscar's done. There's no redeeming this character
That's
now.
it. You're
It's
done.
over.
That's
It's
it.
over." And then next episode, I'm like, "Ah, well, he didn't mean
You'd
to
calm,
do it,
you'd
did
walked
he?"
off, you'd slept on it, you'd calmed down a little
Yeah,
bit and were prepared to
yeah,
listen to what he had to say. Yeah, that's
yeah. I
fine.
mean,
Yeah.
even though really, like, I should still be appalled at him, but he's a young kid. We get it, don't
We all
we?
make mistakes when we're that age. We've
Yeah,
all gone into an elderly
yeah.
person's
We've
house
all
and tried
robbed
to
an old
rob them
man's
at that. We've
house.
all
Yeah,
done it, Ree. We've all done it. And
I
to be
tell you
fair,
what,
he just tries to ring an
Grandad Jim
ambulance as
will.
well.
Well, Grandad Jim will be turning in his grave as well, won't he? That's what
Oh,
I
I bet
kept
Jim used to do
thinking.
that all the time in his youth.
Yeah, but Patrick were his best mate, weren't
That's
they?
true. Yeah,
You know what I
yeah. The
mean?
unfortunate
Which,
timing.
yeah, very unfortunate timing. Go on, you were talking about the ambulance.
Yeah. So he just tried to ring. He tries to ring the
Yeah,
ambulance, and then Howie comes home as well. So he sort of hides, and Howie
yeah,
sort of Howie was sort of like first discovers Patrick, and then can hear this voice like emanating from Patrick's legs where the phone's been discarded. It's sort
yeah.
of like hello, and it's the ambulance. So he manages to sort the ambulance out. Oscar then tries to escape, and they sort of come face to face. Now I wasn't sure at this point whether Howie would have been able to identify him or not. Were you?
No, I didn't think it until obviously later down the line he says it that he kind of clicks to something, doesn't he, in his head? But I'll be honest with you, my first thought when Oscar went in is there's not that many tall, like skinny people on Albert Square that are as tall as him. Like it won't be that
True.
hard maybe for people to figure out, but
It maybe not, but then at the same time, they are in East London. And considering that the
true.
identification apparently came from the fact that he had a tag on his
Yeah.
ankle, I would argue most burglars his age are probably going to have a tag
That
on their
is
ankle.
that is true, but you know, if something happens on Albert Square, it's likely to be a resident of Albert Square, I guess, is
True,
the logic, isn't there? You know, it's
true.
not really someone who's going to come from another square in East London,
No,
I don't
in all
think.
fairness, not Fat Mike is the first kind of criminal tourist we've had in a while, isn't he?
Yeah, he is actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
criminal tourist. Nice to get about, isn't it?
yeah, it's nice to see. Yeah. So obviously the rest of the week actually I quite enjoyed this was all sort of like set alongst the sort of police lights and ambulance lights. It was
Yeah.
like the timing didn't really change throughout the rest of the week, which I quite enjoyed. So it was all
Mm,
set at night for the rest of the week with the blue lights of the police cars and ambulances sort of bathing every single scene. I enjoyed that.
mm.
And Oscar's sort of having a meltdown. And Lauren, meanwhile, has sorted the money. Like all she needed to do was go and get a few extra shifts at the car lot, sell a Jaguar or whatever it was, and then she's got this money
Yeah.
ready to go. And she's like, "That's sorted then, marvelous." But then obviously Oscar didn't know this, so miscommunication. He comes
Hmm.
back, realizing that Lauren has completely sorted it, and he's done all of that for absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't even really do we even see that moment of realization where it's like, oh, I didn't need to do it. It's
No,
just
he's
like,
just yeah.
oops.
Oops, oh dear. But this is what I mean. Like Mike turns up at the house, and Lauren just sort of like glares at him, and presumably then the transaction takes place. And as far as Lauren's concerned, that's all done and dusted.
Right, because
I'm not
actually
convinced.
I think they've got such an in where they could just be like, you've met our Uncle Jack, like all it's gonna
Mm,
take is him to report you to the police and you're
yeah,
done. You've got a
yeah.
record. Like
You'd think.
why would you pay him?
Yeah,
Like and we'll add blackmail to it if you want to carry on.
absolutely. Yeah, and the fact that we
Right?
know that you petrol bombed someone's house. Let's add the list of crimes that we know you've
Yeah.
done and tell
And
Uncle
you'd
Jack.
and someone like Fat Mike would probably be scared of that, thinking, all right, they
You
have got a
think?
policeman involved. You'd think, but anyway, clearly they've
No,
not
not Fat Mike.
thought like
Not
that,
Fat
have
Mike's
they?
not bothered. He's not scared. Not
Mm,
scared. Fat Mike is what he is.
mm,
So Lauren is then sort of like you're an idiot. Why have you done this? Like, and so then the police are doing sort of investigations all around the square, and up
yeah,
until
door
the
to doors.
moment, yeah, and up until the moment that the police walk into the house. Oscar's ready to confess. Lauren says it's the best thing that you just confess. Let's just get this done and dusted. You know, it will be easier if you just confess.
Mm.
Did you think at any point he was going to confess, then that Lauren wasn't going
Absolutely
to?
not. Why on
No,
earth
neither
would
did
he
I.
confess? Of
And
course
that, well,
you're not gonna.
I think he was going. He was ready to confess at that moment, but I feel like
True.
I knew Lauren was going to jump in and save him at the last minute.
Yeah, it were obvious it weren't going to be
Mm.
confessed, weren't it? But yeah, you knew Lauren weren't going to
Of
let
course
him
she
do it as
wasn't.
well.
Of course she
Bless.
wasn't.
I mean, I feel a bit sorry for the position Lauren keeps getting put in, but I understand why she feels like she needs to keep protecting her brother. But then at the same time, it's like he has just like robbed Patrick and
Mm.
like injured him so badly that he's
Yeah,
in hospital.
he's
Like,
in
is there a
hospital, and they're not.
line, Lauren? Is there a
Yeah, I mean, and
line?
they're not entirely sure throughout most of the week whether Patrick's even going to make it. Like they think
Yeah,
that
right.
Patrick might die from this.
Yeah, mind you. I think Lauren is thinking all this, to be fair. And then they have a sit down conversation where he talks about what happened to him, like his childhood after Tanya lost Abby.
Yeah,
And I think Lauren feels so guilty, doesn't she? Because he's
yeah,
like, none of you were here, including you. It was just me and Tanya. Interesting that he don't call her mum. He's always calling her Tanya,
yeah.
and
There's a little.
Cora's Cora.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Oh, so is he going to start calling Max rather than Dad? I
Yeah,
wonder.
he
Yeah,
definitely won't call him
yeah.
dad,
I think
will
that's
he?
interesting. It's an interesting little character quirk that he's got. It's a bit like
Yeah.
Gail and David Platt in Corrie, isn't it? Like
Yes.
he never calls him mum unless it's like a really emotional
So
moment. So
does it
that's
show like a lack of respect? Maybe I don't know.
I think it. Well, I think what I think it shows is that Oscar's view on parents is that someone who's there for you and someone who looks after you, and he's felt abandoned by both of his parents. So why would
Mm,
they have earned the right to for me to call them mum or dad? I think is his thinking.
yeah, maybe. And what it's interesting though, because I've noticed he calls Lauren sis a few times. Like his
Yeah,
note, it said to sis as well.
yeah,
So he
yeah.
won't call them mum and dad, but calls the sis.
Does anyone call their sister sis in real life? Is that a thing?
Yeah, do you know
Is
what?
it?
My mum's brother, my uncle, won't call doesn't call her a name. He only calls her sis.
Oh, there you go.
Like
It's
literally
interesting.
only
Yeah.
calls her sis. So yes, there you go. Living
So
proof of that
I
now.
thought it was one of those things that people only ever said on television, just so you know that they're related. You know, when the scene first
Yeah.
started, and the first scene is like, "All right, sis," it's like, "Right, brother or sister, got it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One of those
Establish
things.
that fact. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's that done. So as it is, I mean, we get updates from the Walford WhatsApp group. Nice to see that again. I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah. Forgot
I'm
about that.
obsessed with. I want to see what goes on in this Walford WhatsApp group. The gossip must be in there.
Can you imagine them all when Cat bought the Vic? They'd be like, "Excuse me, what's just happened in the space of a day?
Yeah,
Did any of you see that one coming? We thought Ian had it in the bag, but yeah, it
I
would
tell
be
you what.
nice to see it, would it?"
You know who's admin on that group is Tracy. I bet you, because she knows everything.
Oh, I don't reckon. I
It would
think
be.
Kathy would be quite high
You
up for being
reckon?
an
You reckon the
admin then.
matriarch of Albert
Yeah,
Square is the sort of the
yeah.
main person, the administrator of the group?
But then you can imagine Kathy would be a bit like, "Hang on, how do I add someone
Yeah.
new? How do I do PT? You're gonna have to come and help me with this. Come
No,
on."
bless her. Kathy's all over the technology. I 100% believe she's not. I think
You
Kathy would be absolutely.
reckon?
Oh God, yeah. Kathy's a young one. She might be in her 70s, but she looks and acts like she's in her
No,
20s. Come on.
I think she'd be capable of like using it, but then that's when she'd start getting confused. She'd be able to
Mm,
send out messages and organise stuff, but it'd come to, oh, they've changed it again. Why do they have to do all these updates? Where's
yeah,
that add member button gone? I had it a minute ago. Should be one of those, I
yeah.
reckon.
So
But
trying to
a bit
work
less
out.
Yorkshire
Trying to
than
work
mine.
out. Yeah, exactly. Far less northern. So that's
Yes.
sort of going on. Meanwhile, Howie. Where do we? What the,
Howie, Howie,
Howie?
Howie.
Now, what is he up to, please? What's going on here?
I don't know, because obviously last week we saw him overhearing the conversation that Kim was having with Denise, which has obviously bruised his ego, made him
Mm,
feel quite inadequate. But like you say, Kim's been pretty horrendous to him this week. So
I
if
think
anything, I'd
so.
just be like, deal with it, Kim. I ain't got any money,
Yeah,
so you're gonna have to love me for not having money. But instead, it's made him turn evil and twisted, which is not a side I was expecting from Howie.
it isn't.
I mean,
I
evil
mean,
and twisted. Well, no, it is a bit. It is
I
definitely
mean, it's a bit
twisted.
twisted. I don't know about evil, but it's a bit.
Yeah.
He's gone a little bit dark. Now, I don't
Hmm.
necessarily mind this because let's be real here. Howie has been up to this point not an amazingly developed character
Yeah.
since his arrival, has he? Really? You know, they've
No,
sort of.
he's not.
It's not. He's been a nice community character. He's been very much sort of
Yeah.
Kim's partner, but we've never
Yeah.
really had much
A
of his own
nipper
screen
stay.
time. Yeah, yeah, and like sort of he's
Yeah.
Denzel's dad and he's Kim's partner, but we've never really
Yeah.
looked too much into Howie's psyche up to now. So I don't
Yeah, I
mind this
agree.
necessarily, and I feel like it's interesting that he's sort of feeling like he's not up to Kim's high expectations of
Yeah.
him, especially when he overhears her talking about Vincent.
Yeah, but even this feels a bit too far for Howie. Like, to if it was maybe somebody who wasn't Patrick that this had happened to and had been
Mm,
witness to, and then
yeah,
he said, "Well, I want to keep the money." Let's say he witnessed it happen to Ian or somebody. You
yeah,
could go, right, well, in Howie's head, Ian's probably rich to him because he owns a couple of businesses. He's not that close to Ian. He's in a bit of a predicament with money, so I can kind of see why he might do it. But he lives with Patrick. He's almost, he's a family figure to
mm,
him, isn't he?
yeah.
Like,
They're
he's
close. Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that he's doing it to someone like Patrick, when it was Patrick's winning.
I mean,
Yeah, something's not right.
was he planning on keeping all the money, or was he just using that as leverage, trying to make himself look a little bit tougher to Lauren and Oscar in order to get the money back?
No, he would put, he's
You reckon he
took the
was? You
money.
reckon?
He's got
Oh,
the money
yeah, but you reckon
because,
he's gonna keep all of that to himself now, you reckon?
well, how would he return the money? How is he going to return it without dobbing somebody in it?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Is he just going to put? Because otherwise, Lauren and Oscar were already saying they were going to purse it through the door. They were going to give the money
Yeah.
back, and then they decided against it because of Howie being like, "Well, I want it," and then they were kind of like, "Well, we can't do anything now because what if he then reports it as
Mm,
knowing it were us," kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think how. I think Howie had every intention of just keeping it. I don't think he was going to give any
Wow.
back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bad Howie.
Exactly.
Bad
Exactly. Because he's
Howie.
already spent some of it on Denzel's festival, he says at end of week. He's like, oh, I've got him a luxury yurt and, all that jazz.
Honestly, this festival that I now know they're going to leave the square for. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Although at the same time, like everybody's giving him loads of this about the festival, and I'm sort of like, even including Denzel, who's acting like a bit of a sport brat about it. I
Mm.
feel like you'd turn around to him and say, "Do you know what? Screw off. No, you can't go to a festival. You're going to act like that."
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think I'd be like, if you're that desperate, maybe go and get yourself a summer job, save your
Yeah,
money up then, because
yeah,
I ain't got it right now.
yeah.
I get that all
Exactly.
your
Five
mates
hundred
want to go.
quid. It's a lot of money.
Do you know what? I see these TikToks, Rob, of parents who are like, they filmed themselves like out doing an hard day at work and they're like, I do all this hard day at work, 13-hour shift today, just so that my
Yeah.
kid can buy their computer game character a new costume. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Honestly, this
That's
is
what
why
I
I
would
don't want to
think.
be. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to be a parent. I can't be asked with all that. If you
Honestly.
go and doing a
Madness,
14-hour
isn't
shift
it?
just so someone can buy themselves an avatar, like piss off. No, I'm not
Exactly.
doing it.
In it.
Yeah.
I
So
thought
where
whereas
does it?
some I don't know, a festival's a bit more of an experience, but
I mean,
still, the
to be fair,
principle.
I wouldn't trust the teens of Walford to go to a festival on their own. Something bad's going to
You
happen at
won't,
this
would you?
festival. Something bad's going to happen. Someone's
That
doing
is,
drugs
do
or
you know
something to do
what?
with alcohol. Someone's going to get alcohol poisoning. Something bad's going to happen.
That's search. None of them are 18 yet, are they?
No,
They're all
no.
still like, what, 7,
This
16, 17? You wouldn't be
that's it.
letting your kid go
No, of
until they're 18,
course you wouldn't.
right?
This is an issue-based storyline waiting to happen. This festival.
It is.
It
It
really is.
definitely is. Yep, yep.
So, where's this going, do we think, with Howie?
I don't know because obviously is it going to be that he gets so greedy and desperate for money and then Kim's probably going to treat him really well when she sees he's got a bit of money. How
Mm,
strategic is he going to be?
I don't think
Or is
that's
he going to
strategic. I don't
be,
think he's going to be very good at this.
well, in which case are they all just going to go, Howie, how come you suddenly got the exact amount of
Yeah.
money that was stolen from Patrick?
Yeah, funny that.
Was there even another person there? But
Yeah.
then again, Patrick did wrestle with Oscar and, he was a lot taller than Howie, so maybe it won't be that angle that they
Yeah.
take. I don't
But then at the
know.
same time, Jack's going to be involved in all of this as well. So is it really wise to be doing
True.
this?
Very true. Very
All it's going
true.
to take is
But
for him to
then,
say one suspicious thing, and Denise is going to say
or,
to Jack, "Do you know what Howie said earlier? This was weird."
or will Jack find out that it was Oscar because of his connection, and then
Yeah, yeah,
he'll
yeah.
feel a bit in the middle of it all because he'll
Mm,
actually know what's happened. I mean, if that did happen, if I were Jack, I'd just blooming tell everyone and go,
yeah,
well, it was Oscar who did it, and then I was blackmailed him, so fight between yourselves about what to do,
yeah.
I reckon.
And final question: how are we getting Oscar onto the roof of that Vic? How is this
Mm.
happening? This has got to be some sort of climax before Max, hasn't it? So
Probably just Fat Michael chase it. I mean, he's working on fruit and veg stall.
yeah, it's quite
He'll think
close.
Fat Mike and his crew are here.
Yeah,
Right.
run
I'm
into
just
the
gonna have to
pub.
leg it.
Yeah,
Run into the pub, run onto the roof. They'll
yeah.
all follow. Next thing,
Enter
Max comes
Max.
back to the square, looks up, get off my son, runs in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bish bash bosh. Fat
There you go.
Mike. Hopefully it'll be Fat Mike who lands on the floor.
Oh God, yeah. So, someone's going. Oh dear. Right. So let us know your predictions in the comment sections. Let us know where you think it's going. Let's move on now to the next story. Okie dokie, on to Callum now. So, Callum's temptation has risen again this week, and frankly, who wouldn't be tempted by a picture of Johnny looking like he's applying for Love Island, holding an inflatable watermelon?
What was right? That can we just discuss that photo, Johnny?
Sure,
Were we supposed to think
that was
that's him on a
real.
beach in Seville? Or are we supposed to? Because actually, my first thought was he's had a photo taken by a photographer on the cruise.
Well, I thought because of the way the photo looked, I thought that he would put his head through one of those like wooden cart, those wooden things that you just like you put your face through and there's like a body
Oh yeah,
underneath
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it
yeah.
was one of them. It was just,
Oh, wait, even his body,
I
just
think,
like a
yeah, because
well,
it just looked quite badly photoshopped, didn't it?
I just don't like they could have made it look a bit more
Was that him?
realistic. I don't understand. Or they could have mentioned like he could have sent it and been like, "Lol, look at this that a photographer took."
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Just something like that because it
because
was
then
so
other than that,
cheesy.
the inclination is that Linda took that photo. Go on, mum, make me look dead
Yeah,
sexy. Go
that's
on, send this
true.
to
Yeah,
Callum.
yeah. Go on. Oh yeah, we'll use that as a
Oh yeah,
background. Yeah.
I always
Oh
use
yeah,
mine, but
watermelon inflatable look
oh, that'll do
perfect on
it.
this
That'll turn him
picture.
on. Oh, that'll turn him on.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This picture isn't done until I've got inflatable fruit.
Right.
What?
So
Going on.
actually, no, that is a very valid point though, because otherwise it is a somewhat innocent photo that your mate sent you on holiday. But had it
Yeah.
been a selfie of him, like, check me out in my
Mm.
trunks, is that what you call swim
Shorts.
shorts?
Shorts.
Yeah,
Yeah. I wouldn't call them
you
budgie
know,
smugglers, like Jay did. I don't
no,
think they were quite budgie smugglers.
no. But
Was it?
anyway, something
I.
like that would have been a
Yeah.
bit more
I
like
don't know.
flirty,
Frankly, I
maybe.
don't know whether it was him or not. In all honesty, it looked. Maybe I think we sort of focused on it a little bit too long, and we sort of realised that
Yeah,
that's definitely not a real photo. But never mind.
yeah,
It was
right.
meant. It was meant to be, and Callum
Yeah.
was absolutely charged with eroticism at the sight of it. And
Oh,
they sent him apparently quite a flirty text message back saying, "Can't wait to see your tan lines." And then he's trying to sort of like justify it by saying it's so harmless banter. It's harmless flirting. It's like, no, it's not, Callum. Is it really? Come on.
well, it's not when you've already been there, done that, and got the
Yes.
t-shirt, is it? Which he has,
No.
right?
He
Yeah, he
has got
has.
his,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, he's
yeah.
got a few, he's got
A
a few
few
t-shirts,
times.
a few t-shirts.
Mm,
Yes, yes. So Jay sort of discovers this. So this issue is kind of up out in the open again, and
mm.
it is an issue again, which is unfortunate for Callum because guess who's coming back, ladies and gentlemen, officially announced. Spoiler sirens, Nina,
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 Nina.
Nina.
Now, we said a few weeks back when the notion of Ben returning was first sort of put out there, we did
Yeah,
say there is absolutely no way that they can return Ben without it
no.
being ridiculous. And lo and behold, they've managed it. Because,
Well, okay, yes.
I mean, like, okay, so it turns out he will return because Jono, Callum, the highway dad, the homophobic one
Yeah,
that Phil punched, that Callum doesn't speak to anymore,
yeah,
he's going to die, and it's going to be his
yes,
funeral. And
yeah.
Ben is going to be released on day release to go to the funeral of
Day
a
release from America. Day
day release from
release from
America.
America.
Yeah, day
Oh,
release from
that's a long
America.
day.
It's a long day. It's quite a long way to be released for one day to go to the funeral of a man that you've met once, didn't like, and that your husband doesn't even speak to.
Right. See, you mentioned this. So Rob messaged me this actually and said, "Well, you didn't even like him and only met him once." However,
Mm.
if you are entitled to day leave because your in-laws passed, you'd take it, wouldn't you? Whether
Yeah,
you
but
liked
are
him or
you?
not.
But are you?
Are you well, that's a whole other. I have no idea if you're entitled to it or not.
It seems
Not a clue.
unlikely.
But if
All the way
if
from
you are,
America, it
which
feels unlikely. I don't know.
I
Maybe
don't
you
know.
are.
I don't know though. But Callum can fly over and have
And,
these
and
what
sleep
they
with
call
him, yeah.
conjugal visits or whatever they're called.
I still can't
Conjugal.
believe
Is
that's the conjugal visits. Yeah, that's
that
the
what they're
one.
called?
That's what it's called. It's exactly what it's called, Ray. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I still think that's insane, to
Strange
be
things
fair.
have happened.
Can't believe that's the thing.
Well,
But yeah, that's
you can be released though on in prisons like in the UK. You can be released for funerals, but I don't
mm.
know where they draw the line on. Is it got to be like a direct next of kin family member, like, or can you go to your Uncle John's funeral? I don't know because I feel like it depends on how close you are and how do they know how close you are to somebody.
I mean, all I will say is it seems ridiculous, but it was this is the problem with sending Ben to prison in America. There was no
Yeah.
logical way to bring him back, was there? So they had to sort of make us think, can you just bear with us while we just return him and just
Mm.
don't criticize us too much, all right? He's coming back, deal with the weirdness, and then we'll be fine.
Well, no, but do you know another way around it? And I don't think they will do it, but they could have just been like, oh, Ben's getting a transfer. They've agreed that he can do the rest of his sentence
Yeah,
like
I'd
in the
believe that.
UK.
Maybe that might still
And
happen.
then And then it'd be a bit more believable that he's allowed out on day release. But for a prison in America to presumably pay for his flights, I don't know how it'd work.
This is
Or
what I mean, like business class. What you can
for
do
a
is just
day,
throwing
for a
him in the luggage
day.
rack. Yeah, I mean that might still
Yeah.
happen. In all fairness, they might
Mm.
they might do this thing where it's sort of like, yeah, American prisons, like they're trying to sort of empty them
Yeah.
out, and Ben's being sent back to the UK. That
Yeah.
could happen, and then that
Yeah.
might make it theoretically reasonable that he's having a day release to go to this funeral.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. What I will say is that I bet you every penny that I ever earn that he escapes
Oh,
and goes on
don't,
the run.
Rob.
I bet you
Don't.
£150 that that's what happens.
But why? But then if they do that, he's going to get a longer sentence. So they'd
No, he's
shoot
just going to go
themselves
on
in
the
the foot if
run.
they did that.
He'll go on the run, and then he'll return when they're ready to bring Ben back again, and then they'll come up with some story as to like the police just forget about him or something like that, or something will happen.
They let him
And
off because, he
yeah,
saved somebody
because
from
he's
a burning
Ben.
building and
Yeah,
therefore he
yeah,
doesn't need to go to
yeah,
prison for anything that he has ever
yeah,
done wrong. The
something like
end.
that. I
You
bet
reckon?
you. I bet you he escapes when he's.
Nah.
I
Do
bet
you
you
know
he
what?
escapes when he's in
Right.
the UK. I
I'm
bet
going to
you.
bet you a tenner that he doesn't then.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Take on it. Right.
Yeah. We just done a
All right.
shake. But what we have done just done a shake. What we've done, if you're only listening, is look like idiots and just hold our hand out at the camera and just wave at each other.
It's a
But
virtual shake. Come
virtual
on.
shake. Virtual shake. Also confirmed that Stuart is returning as well for this
Yes.
episode.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, and so the promo picture is Callum and Ben with all handcuffs, and then
Mm.
Stuart and Johnny's there as well. So this is
Oh,
clearly
yeah.
all. This is all gonna. The fact that Johnny's there means that Callum and Johnny's relationship is clearly going to go to the next level. Because why the hell else would Johnny go to the
Well,
funeral?
I did think that, but then I wondered, did Johnny kind of know his dad a bit? Because obviously they grew up around each other. He was his
Oh
best
yeah,
mate, weren't they? So he might know
maybe,
his
but
dad, but he might have known him enough to go, well, I'm still in touch with you. Yeah, I'll come with you for a bit of support. Maybe he didn't know Ben. Maybe they don't find out until Ben's there that Ben's coming.
I
So
bet they.
maybe
Yeah, which in
Johnny's
itself
gone. I
seems
know.
unlikely. Because why
But
wouldn't
it
you
might
know
be
that?
that Johnny's like, oh, look, if you need someone, Callum, I'll be there for you. And he'll be like,
Yeah,
yeah, without Ben being here. And then he'll be crying on Johnny's shoulder, and then Ben will turn up, and then
yeah.
then he'll
Escape.
escape.
Ben will escape. Telling you, it's got it. That's gonna happen.
I
I'm telling you
really,
now.
well, I wouldn't mind him escaping, but then you've got to follow it through with he needs to go to jail for a longer time if you're going to make him escape. Do you know what I
No,
mean? But
they'll
that
think of
won't
some reason.
happen. That's
They'll
why
think
I'm already against it.
because the thing is, he's supposed to be in prison for 6 years, all right, and
Right?
we've already heard that he's been fighting in prison and all that kind of thing. So he's not getting let out early for good behaviour.
Yeah, exactly. He shouldn't, if
So
anything.
if we know that he's coming back at some point, I think they have said that he's only in it for these couple of episodes. They've not said anything about him returning again. But
Okay.
what's the point?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? If they're not bringing him back full time later on in the year
Unless he's coming back so that they can
or next
officially
year.
end things between Callum and Ben, so
Ooh,
that he can move on to Johnny
Wade, he's a brave man if he does
ethically, in
that.
inverted commas.
Ethically. Wade is a brave man. I'm telling you that if
But
that's what happens.
aren't they still a couple though, Ben and Callum?
Yeah, they're
Like they've
still
not
married.
split up, have
They're
they? So he's
married.
cheating on him.
Yeah, he
Callum's
is.
cheated on him
Yeah.
numerous times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shame.
Mm. We shall see. We shall see, but we're in for a fun old time with the Ballum train, let me tell you. So that's happening. Meanwhile, so this sort of kind of all starts going on because Elaine and Callum are chatting
Yes, at
about,
the Albert, yeah.
yeah, and Elaine's basically just trying to encourage Callum to move on. Like everybody has been completely and utterly disregarding the fact that Callum's married.
Yeah,
Jay and
right.
the Mitchells are the only ones that are bothered about this whatsoever.
So true, isn't it? Like, yeah, Callum, you are still married. I know he's
Yeah.
like
No,
in prison.
have a good time, love. You deserve it. Go on, knock
Yeah,
yourself
you can
out.
still go and see him on those little visits that you
Go
have
on,
every so
love.
often
He
and have
doesn't
your
need to
cake and
know.
eat it while you're in Walford.
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yes, Elaine's very pushy on him, isn't she?
Yes,
Like,
yes. But a wish
mm.
that I've wanted for a little while was granted this week. I'm very excited about
I
this.
think we called this, by the way,
I think
Rob,
we
on another.
did.
We did call
Yeah,
this. We
yeah, yeah.
100% called this. Yeah. Go on.
Elaine and Cindy are now in business together, working for the Albert. I love every single modicum of this. It's brilliant.
So do I. I am actually so glad that they've got this like frenemy thing going on, and
Peggy and
they kind
Pat.
of respect each other in a way.
Are they the new Peggy and Pat? Is that
Are
where
they
this
the
is
new
going?
Peggy and Pat? Because Sharon and Kat are no longer the Peggy and Pat, are
Exactly, and
they?
that was where that was going. But this, I mean,
Mm,
I don't think we're there yet with them because I don't think they're even
no,
friends yet, are they? Really, they've got to
no.
build up the friendship before they move on.
The
But this is the thing,
frenemies.
yeah. But
Frenemies
they're both,
still.
yeah, but they're both single at the minute. Is the
Yeah.
thing. And I
Yeah.
kind of would, I kind of quite like them. So I feel like the Cindy and George thing might still kind of play on, but I'd quite like
Yeah.
Elaine to just sort of move on from George, and maybe the two of them go to war over a new man.
Yeah, I was going to say if they share a similar type, then maybe that's going to be a thing that keeps moving forward, that they keep going for the same guy and it's going to be a
Yeah,
case of who wins kind of thing. Although, arguably, they're very different people in some
mm.
ways,
Yeah,
but
very quietly. Yeah,
I'm here for it. We had like Elaine was crying on Yolanda's shoulder earlier in the week. Well, not
yes.
cry, not literally crying, but complaining that can't get a job giving away free drinks anymore.
Yeah,
But
I'm having to pay. Everyone's having to pay.
yeah. It's a sad time for everyone in London. But so she's saying, everybody wants a CV and they want all this, that, and the other, and you can't just get a job. And what happened to good old experience? And oh, look what happens. Cindy's
Yeah,
struggling. She needs help. Bish, bash, bosh. Perfect.
I love it. I mean,
Love
yeah,
Elaine
I
and the
mean,
Albert.
arguably, I don't think at Christmas when Cindy was kind of being revealed as sort of the big affair with Junior was being revealed, I don't think anyone would quite have predicted Cindy and Elaine working together in kind of close partnership at any point. But I don't mind it. I think it's going to work really, really nicely.
It works as well because they're still jibing at each other in between as well. But
Yeah.
actually, Elaine can see Cindy needs the help, and Cindy
Mm.
can see that Elaine needs a job and wants to do all her front of house stuff, as
Yeah.
she puts it. So perfect, isn't it?
And Elaine suits that place down to the ground. I don't
Yes.
think Cindy's going to be there forever, if I'm honest. I've said this before. I feel like Cindy
Mm,
might sort of lose it at some point in the business and Elaine will just take over.
possibly, or she might just say, "Do you want to just buy it off me, Elaine?"
Mm.
Like, I don't think it's for me. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I don't mind them both being there for a bit.
No, I mean I don't mind it. I love their relationship. I think it's really
Yeah.
fun to watch. Kind of mini spoiler siren. I know Michelle Collins is doing something at the Edinburgh Festival this year, so I feel
Yes.
like she's going to take another break soon. So I don't know whether
So
that's
she'll
going to
leave
lead.
Elaine in charge for a bit,
Yeah,
maybe, and
I
just say,
think
"I'm going on
so.
holiday, maybe, or
Yeah,
something." Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's just. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But that's exciting. The Albert under new management, and it suits Elaine down to the ground. Can we hope for more Drew now?
I was wondering that they're going to have all these drag queens cancelling at the last minute, and Elaine will be like, "I know just the person for this."
Exactly. And then
Yes.
have Drew and Cindy meet. Oh my God, it writes itself, right?
Yeah, it all writes
Yes,
itself, doesn't
please.
it? And then Elaine can explain to Cindy the entire situation, and then they might start bonding. But then when they have an argument, Cindy might throw it back in her face and be like, "Well, at least my husband didn't leave me for a
Yeah,
which would be
beautiful.
very on brand for Cindy to say something like
Beautiful.
that, wouldn't it?
Love it, love
Yeah,
it, love
writes
it. Yes, please.
itself.
Writes itself. Yes, please. So before we move on to the big storyline of the week, we just have one little storyline to discuss, and that is Suki, Eve, and Avani.
So the madness that is the Avani Suki Eve storyline continues this week, Rob.
Yeah.
And Avani is preparing to go for her first scan at the hospital
Mm-hmm.
when who should return but Vinny?
Yes.
And he's back
Yes.
from Canada, isn't he? So he
Wasn't a
has a
very long
lovely little
trip.
catch up.
Wasn't a very long
Yeah, it
trip to
wasn't.
Canada, was it? It was only gone for like the
I was,
weekend.
yeah, I was expecting a lot longer for such
Yeah,
a
so was
long
I.
haul flight for him. Anyway, Eve convinces Suki, you need to stay here and, have a catch up with Vinny, have a good catch up. I'll take Avani to McClunkey's, before we have that show, they say, they try and say to Vinny, we've got a big day out planned.
Honestly, they could have said anything to Vinny at that point, and Vinny would have been like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
fair. That sounds believable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely. Yeah,
She
yeah,
could be there with 9 month bump and he'd be like,
yeah."
yeah, okay, cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Chicago. Enjoy Chicago. Have fun. Yeah.
So Eve takes Avani to McClunkey's and they have a chat. And I think the idea of this chat is actually, I think Eve went with the intention of trying to put Avani off the idea, didn't she?
Mm,
But it ends up being that I think Avani convinces Eve that it's maybe not such a bad idea. It ends up being because she's talking very openly about, oh, I just think that Suki really needs this. Grandma had, she really needs this. She'd make such a, she wants to have another chance at being a mom and
mm.
she wants it more than anything in the world. And I'm sat there, I don't know about you thinking, she didn't 2 weeks ago, but all
No,
right.
no.
Like,
She
it's the
really.
first we've heard of it.
Yeah, this is the problem
I
with this
mean,
line, isn't it? I mean, I
yeah.
just the thing is though, does Eve know that the only real reason that Barney said yes to this was the fact that Suki was offering her money? Is he aware
Yeah,
of
that's
that?
not really been mentioned again, has it? Like, because that did seem, like we said, to be the main reason that
Yeah,
Avani turned around and agreed as soon as she mentioned money. And
yeah,
then it's not really been spoke about again, has it? Which is
no.
odd to not even mention it. But maybe it's because Eve's, knows like, oh, right, well, yeah, you'll be paying for the costs along the way. Is that all it is, or is she going to pay her a bit extra? Do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Eve could have, like, at some point, if she was trying to genuinely turn Avani off this idea,
Yeah.
I think it's not unfair to say that Avani has maybe thought through the whole idea of handing over this baby once she's given birth to it. But I don't think she's given a second's worth of consideration for the 9 months preceding when she's going through pregnancy and
Mm.
all the hell that is, I mean, all the beautiful stuff, but also all the physical pain that can be pregnancy and the labor and all of that kind of madness for a 16
mean,
year
she's
old.
already done 3 months there, to be fair, and
She's
that's arguably one of the worst parts, supposedly, for a
Does
lot of
it?
women, is the first trimester.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
how did
That's.
you find it? All right,
Do you know what, Rob? I had a great pregnancy. I'm
you
not
did,
gonna
didn't
lie
you?
to you. I didn't
Yeah,
have
you were
any.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
you had a great
yeah.
time.
So
Yeah.
Avani's clearly been the same so far.
You didn't even start showing till quite late on, did you? I didn't think like I remember you
About
once sent me a photo and you were like, "Oh yeah, you're very pregnant."
yeah,
But
all of a
that
sudden
was
it popped.
yeah, but you
Yeah,
were quite late on when that really started to happen, weren't you?
yeah, yeah. About what, 5, 6 months
Oh,
maybe. This is what I was saying about
I think
Avani. You
about the
could
week before you
argue.
gave birth, it started popping, wasn't it?
Oh no, it definitely wasn't. No, it definitely. I'd say after like my 20-week scan, I think that's when it started being a bit more obvious. But
Yeah,
yeah, so Avani went for her 12-week scan, so that shows that she's 3 months pregnant.
it's a lot. She's a lot more pregnant than I think we thought she was, isn't it?
I don't know, because I do remember it being quite a while ago with
Yeah.
Joel, but it does mean
I mean, it
that
makes sense,
her
but yeah.
her getting to the point of not being able to abort will happen a lot sooner than we were
Mm.
anticipating, perhaps, which I still think is Suki's plan. But I
Yeah,
don't
I
know how
absolutely.
it's going to go.
I still don't think this birth is happening. I think something's going to happen that makes Ivani think, screw this, and then she's going to go and have a termination behind their back, and then maybe lie
Oh,
about it and still get the money. Maybe I don't know, but I don't think this baby's. I
interesting.
don't think this baby's happening. I think it will take one conversation with Joel for her to be like, "Don't be stupid, Ivani," and then she'll go and have the termination while she can.
Oh
I
no,
think.
I think she's been fully manipulated by
Mm,
Suki. And I just think as long as Suki can keep it a secret for long enough, it'll all go ahead, is what I think. Do I want it to though? No, I do. I'm going to be honest. Like teen pregnancy, could we have given her something else?
yeah, it's been done,
Like,
hasn't it? Yeah.
but then also, I don't really feel like this storyline is about Avani anymore. I feel like it's more to do with Suki now,
Yeah, I
arguably.
agree. I don't. Yeah, I completely. This is more about Suki and Eve, and I think this is more
Yeah.
about giving problems and drama for Suki and Eve, and
Mm.
for Eve maybe to see a slightly different side to Suki.
But then, so later in the week, they go for the scan. Eve supposedly is, thinking, wow, look at Suki. She's in her element. She
Mm,
absolutely loves this baby already. And I love Suki even more because of how much she's looking at this baby of her, 16-year-old granddaughters that she's buying. I love that
yeah,
she's looking at it so lovingly. And then
yeah. I'm so.
supposedly agrees, Eve
When she
does.
turned around and like showed the picture of the scan, and it's like,
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? Did you think your blob was beautiful on that first scan? Because I feel like it just looks like a load of pixels at that point.
Yes, Rob, it
Okay,
is.
okay, sorry,
Excuse
carry on.
me. Excuse me. Yes, it is.
Is it okay?
That's the
Fine.
first time you see
Your
your
child, yeah. Oh
child.
yeah, you as the mother can turn around and say, "Isn't it beautiful?" But I feel like if it's not yours, it's sort of it's
But
just
it is
it's
theirs.
okay.
But it
Yeah,
is theirs.
it
In
is
in their
theirs. Yeah,
minds, though, it is.
that's true. Yeah,
And at the very least, in Suki's mind, she would view them as her great granddaughter, at the very
yeah. I
least.
feel like Eve is not in a position to say, "Yes, that's the most beautiful picture I've ever seen."
I don't know. Well, I'll be honest with you, no. Considering she didn't want kids 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
no, probably
exactly.
right, to
I
be
think
quite
Eve's not quite at the
honest.
level where she's looking at baby
Yeah.
scans and thinking, "Yeah, that's the most gorgeous load of pixels I've ever seen in my life."
Well, so talking of Eve, we're in a
Yeah.
bit of I don't think we agree, do we? So I'm fully thinking Eve's been convinced after this week, but you're not so convinced that she's
Um,
100% into it.
I mean, I think that she's biding her time, I would say. I think that she went
Ah,
along
see,
I think she went along with the lie for Priya because that needed to happen at that moment, but I feel like
yeah,
it will take a little thing for her to see sense again.
interesting because I after this week I was like, wow, she's been fully converted into the
Mm,
idea and she's all for it. But like you say, this is the thing because I think the last we see of him this week, Eve and Suki are having a conversation, and Eve says to Suki, "Look, I'm on board, but the next step is you need to tell Priya and Ravi. That's the only
Mm,
way I'm on board."
yeah.
And then we don't see him again for the rest of the week.
And Suki's
So,
clearly not planning on doing that yet, is she?
how well, this is it. I don't think she is. I genuinely think Suki's plan is just keep it secret until you can
Until it's
no
too
longer get
late.
to the abortion
Yeah.
clinic,
Yeah.
and then we'll tell him. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
like you say, it's too late, and we're in
Yeah.
this situation.
They're gonna
But
go mad. They're gonna go
yeah, but
absolutely ape
How's
shit.
Suki going to keep stalling Eve and Avani to not tell him? Avani,
Well,
I feel like, have been a bit more easy to convince. Don't tell him until you've
mm,
got to this stage.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Eve, I won't believe of it. I won't believe her.
This is what I
Believe
mean.
her.
I don't see you love it, don't you? You love
My
it. You
name
love
puns. I
it.
love a name pun,
You
Rob.
do. Now she's a believer.
Good one.
I just don't think that Eve is 100 billion% convinced because I think she felt bad about lying to Priya, and I think she feels like, oh, I shouldn't have to be doing this. I don't think she's 100% convinced. I think there is a sort of side to Eve where she's still sort of like, this is a terrible, terrible idea, and she's just trying to bide her time and keep Suki and Avani happy while she works out what to do next.
I think I don't think that she's biding her time. I think she's been fully manipulated into it by Suki.
Yeah.
However, I do agree with you saying that it could take just one thing for her to
Mm,
see sense and change her mind.
yeah.
But whether that'll happen in time, I don't know. I kind of hope it does because
I hope it does.
I actually don't want this to go ahead, if I'm honest with you, the rest of
Mm,
this storyline. Yeah, I don't know how I want it to play out exactly. Even if, as much as I don't want there to be a teen pregnancy, even if it was that Avani changed her mind and said, you know what, I've bonded with this baby, I've decided I'm going to have it for
yeah,
myself,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't even mind that. But
It would make more
Suki and Eve
sense.
going through with it, just
Yeah,
no, thank you.
yeah.
Just don't. It feels
Um,
immoral, I think we said last week.
yes, wrong. That's what it is. It's wrong.
Wrong.
And I think, like I said, it's going to take one conversation with one young man to make Avani realize that this could cause her a lot of trouble. And that young man, ladies and gents, is Joel. So, on to the biggest storyline of the week, and this was Joel and the Incel storyline. Now, then, before we start really talking about Joel, should we have a little brief discussion about his mother?
Oh, yeah.
Because
You
I
mean
feel like Cleo.
Cleo?
Who the hell's
Cleo?
Cleo?
Sounds a bit like Zoe in a way. You've got any in and O in there, Rob, if you really wanted to.
If you
Is she
really,
Cleo or is she Zoe using the name Cleo?
why would she be? Why would
What?
she be doing a Cindy and using a different name? May I ask?
Because of all the den stuff, maybe? She wanted to go on
Possibly.
the run a little
Was she on the?
bit.
I'm trying to remember what Zoe's exit was. Was she going on the run? I feel like it was something to do with the den stuff. So you might be right there, but it feels like it's just
I
kind of been put
mean,
in to add a little bit of mystery to it because people might have guessed it.
do you think so? It's like to throw us off the
Maybe,
scent a bit.
maybe
But
because it
then
did throw me off the scent. I was sort of like, wait,
yeah,
what?
yeah. But then so okay, let's say it is Zoe, is
Mm,
Cleo, right? Which it still could be, let's be honest. Who is
yeah.
she marrying then? Because why would she get in
Yeah,
touch?
yeah, exactly. Like, why?
And
Who is
also
she
she's on
marrying
the
all of a
run,
sudden?
Zoe. Zoe's on the
Yeah,
run. Andy said, oh, she didn't want you to see it on socials,
yeah.
which makes you
Something
think
that's
that it's not
yeah.
Zoe because then she won't be on social media seen as though she's supposedly on the
Well,
run
she
at
would
the
have.
minute.
She would have. She had a different name and a
Different
different
name.
identity. I mean, look. I mean, this is the thing. We know our soaps, right? We've been doing this long enough to know the structure of when a big reveal is coming, right? And the
Yeah,
fact that Joel is currently falling out with all the Slaters and having like a really bad
true.
time with them all, just in
Yeah.
time for it to be revealed that actually he's kind of half Slater. And
Yeah, very true.
the fact that Vicky and Zoe never got on in the first place, and you've got that additional element to it. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of rehashing of the George Cindy stuff with that. To be fair, I feel like it's sort of going to be like Ross falling in love with Zoe all over again, just kind of like George did with Cindy. You know, it's going to be that sort of setup, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
But it feels
But
like
then
all the
again,
pieces are in place for a big reveal and for it to have as much impact as possible where we are right now. You know?
I agree, and it'd make total sense for it to be Zoe. But yeah, like you said, was this Cleo stuff just to throw us off?
Mm.
I've even seen some people saying, "Yeah, Cleo is Zoe, and she's going to come back with Anthony, and that's who she's engaged to."
Maybe that's who she's getting married to. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I've seen
I mean, that
people
was a quick
saying that, but
engagement.
then
It's possible.
he'd know that she's obviously not clear, I guess. But yeah, like I
Yeah,
said, the main thing for me with the social media thing. But like you say, I guess if her Facebook profile's in the name of Cleo, then no one would find her
yeah,
anyway, would they?
yeah. Because you
We
could
can
have
do reverse, picture searches these days, Rob. But
deep fake
maybe,
searches. Apparently, that's a thing these days. Yeah.
oh,
So
scary.
I don't know. They're throwing. I think they're trying to put a shroud over it at the minute because I feel like they were deliberately quite cagey when they were talking about Joel's mum this week.
Mm,
Because as soon as she became up in conversation, I think my spidey senses were tingling because I feel like I was going to write anything you say now. I'm going to try and
mm.
attach to Zoe, and so they started, referring to her as Cleo and saying that she was getting married, and it's sort of like, well, that doesn't seem like Zoe. So what's going on there?
But also, would Vicky have not seen at least a picture of her? Because,
Yeah.
mind you, I guess if Joel hates her that much, they don't want pictures of her around.
No, she 100% would have seen a picture of us, surely.
You'd think, wouldn't you? And she'd be like, "Well, that's not clear. She's actually called Zoe Slater,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, they
used to live on
100.
Albert Square many years ago."
Yeah, and I
She
don't
might
like
not,
her.
though, like I say, because so what we did find out this week is that the reason that Ross and Cleo
Yeah.
split up is because she supposedly cheated on him.
Mm,
So I guess you could say that both Ross and Joel said we don't want any reminders of her. But again, I don't know. I still feel like they would have had at least a picture of her around, like a baby photo
I
or
think so.
something.
Much to discover there, I think. There's stuff
Yeah.
going on, but I feel like it's Zoe's got to be involved somewhere just because of the way that they're
The
setting up all
Slater
the
stuff.
pieces. Yeah, it feels like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But what it does transpire is that Joel's behaviour is obviously very much a result of whatever has been going on with his mum. It's all the woman's fault,
Yeah.
Ray. Of course it
Hmm.
is. Yes.
Yes. That old chestnut.
Wow, what a week we have had with Joel, eh?
What a week. Where do we start with it all, Rob?
I
So he
mean,
finds out about his mum. That's where I think it
yeah,
starts a bit, doesn't it, this week?
this is what sort of dominoes Joel this week and snowballs him into what he kind of is by the end of the week. And I think it's actually a really interesting study of Ross and Joel as well. Some really interesting stuff that goes on here, which I feel like we're going to have a debate about. Um,
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yes. So when he hears about his mum apparently getting married again, at
Yeah.
first he appears to be all absolutely fine with it. Joel and Tommy are currently kind of working with Ross at the builder's yard because Vicky is
Yeah.
constantly in Ross's ear, like, you need to sort him out. So he takes her to the builder's yard and he seems to get on all right there. But interestingly, they did that whole thing about sort of wolf whistling and all that kind of thing. And Ross is really kind of over hypersensitive to anything that Joel is doing like that, which I
Yeah.
think is
Yeah.
it's fascinating. He's walking on eggshells around this boy. It's really, really kind of interesting to watch.
Well,
You
but given
would,
what
wouldn't
he's
you?
been up to, like,
Yeah,
he knows that he's been doing secret filmings. He knows about
yeah,
the way that he, touched that girl,
mm,
inappropriately on the
yeah, yeah.
tube. I'm going to call it a tram then. No, we're in
That's Corey
London.
love. That's Corey love. Um, yeah, and then when Joel finds out about this, he goes around to Tommy's, which is now the
Yeah.
Vic, and they try to steal some booze, and Cat and Alfie catch them, and a kind of row escalates, and then Joel sort of goes into massive sexist mode and starts calling Cat a slag and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, he calls Vicky a melt at first. Then when Kat defends Vicky,
Yeah,
says, "Don't talk." I think she says like, "Don't talk to a woman like that," which to me should just be like, "Don't talk to an adult
I don't
or
want to like
anyone
that. I
like
mean, I
that."
don't know.
Really.
Is melt a particularly derogatory term to
No,
use
that's
towards a
what
woman?
I
I don't
thought
know.
it were a bit like. But anyway,
Yeah,
fair enough. Don't talk to her like that. Really
yeah,
is the
basically, yeah,
gist of
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then he says, "I don't take orders from slags," and it's like,
Uh,
excuse
uh,
me. But then it's just how. So
yeah,
this is where you're right. I think we are going to disagree. Then Ross immediately jumps in and says, "He's
yeah.
sorry, isn't he? You're sorry, aren't you?" And he's like, "No, I'm not."
All
It's like
right.
you shouldn't be apologising on behalf of the child. Even with my 3-year old, right? The thing is you teach them
Oh yeah,
what it is they're saying sorry for. You don't just teach somebody to say sorry. Like I could just say sorry. Well, then you're just going to say sorry and not understand the meaning behind it,
yeah,
are you?
yeah. Of
Which is what
course.
Ross was trying to get Joel to do
Yeah, yeah.
without
Yeah.
actually saying
He's trying
to
to make it
him,
all go away as
"What are
quickly
you
as he
doing?"
possibly could,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And this is the thing with Ross and Joel this week, which I've kind of found fascinating. And I know that we have different opinions on this because Vicky says, talk to him, like just try and talk, like sort this out, basically, because this is going to start getting out of hand
Mm.
again. Sort him out. So Ross kind of tries to go down the gently, gently approach and try to talk to him and try to sort of listen to what he's saying. And Joel starts kind of giving him all the sort of rubbish that he's sort of picked up online and everything, and then shows him a video. And I think he selectively picked the video that he showed Ross at that moment, to be honest.
Interesting. Oh,
Well,
you think he
because,
deliberately chose
oh,
one that
of
wasn't
course he did.
in
Yeah,
in inverted commas as
yeah.
bad?
He
Which,
picked.
yeah, but that'd show that he's got an awareness, which I don't think
Oh,
he's
which.
got, if I'm
Oh, I think he
honest.
has got a total
Oh, you
awareness with it.
do?
Oh,
Oh, oh,
100%. I feel like Joel is way further ahead with this than anybody's giving him credit for at the moment, for a start.
yeah, but I don't think he views what he's viewing as wrong. But do you think that he's manipulative enough to know that, you know,
Well,
the
it's the boiling.
woke in inverted commas would
Yeah.
think that that's
Well, it's the
wrong?
boiling
So he
frogs.
knows. Mm,
It's the boiling frog situation, isn't it? You would not, nobody who gets dragged into this world would watch the video that Ross discovers from this guy online and immediately sort, well, maybe some of them might, but very fewer of them will be pulled into the world immediately from that. You start to sort of, you bring them in with the gentler stuff, and then you sort of
okay,
slowly manipulate them. And I think that's exactly what he was doing to Ross. He was showing him a very mild
interesting.
video where he could theoretically say, okay, I can see some points of what he's trying to say there. I
Mm,
can, like, you'd have to agree with it, but you can sort of see that it doesn't seem as unreasonable as you kind of worry that he's
yeah,
watching.
yeah.
But then obviously Ross kind of goes a bit further into it, and then is
Mhm.
seeing watching a video from the same guy saying that all women are sex workers and they all want, and it's all
And
about
they
that
treat
sort
men
of
as
thing.
customers, and it's
Exactly.
the
Now,
ugly ones who have to work,
yeah,
and
and of course he
yeah.
isn't going to show his dad that one straight away, is he?
Well, this is it. No, no, I guess you're right in a way that he's trying to. But then, like I say, because he believes it to all be true, would he think it's that bad, though? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think
If
that
he
he's,
thinks that that's the truth, then
yeah.
why would he think, oh, I'll not show my dad that one? He
Mm.
must have some level of understanding of maybe this is a bit too extreme.
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
thinks that there's a difference between extreme and wrong. Is the
Mm,
problem. I think he sees
okay.
that like this he realizes that the more extreme ones are going to be more difficult for him to convince his dad straight off the bat, but
Maybe.
the more mild ones they can start to have maybe a conversation about it, and
Yeah.
then it can sort of develop from there. But showing him straight away a video where he's calling all
Mm.
women sex workers, that's not going to get his dad on board.
Yeah, easing him in, I guess.
Mm, yeah.
Interesting.
And so they start, and Ross is sort of trying to sort of get on Joel's level with it all and trying to sort of act quite casually and calm about it. They're having a beer and watching these videos. And Ross is sort of like, okay, I mean, I'm not saying this is right, but he's sort of saying, okay, yeah, I can sort of see your point. Joel goes and gets another beer, and then Ross does a little bit more investigating on the laptop. Not only finds this other video saying that all women are sex workers, etc., but then also goes to Joel's emails and finds videos that Joel has taken and that people are sending him, and he realizes just exactly what is happening here, that Joel is basically a full-blown incel who,
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, feels weeks away from actually raping somebody, and I really, really, really think that Vicky's in danger.
Interesting. I didn't think of it as being Vicky. I wondered if it was going to be Stacey because we're leading to her exit, Lacey Turner's. I wondered if
Yeah.
that's where they were kind of heading with it. But you might have a point with Vicky, to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised. Or I could imagine him hitting her quite
Oh well, he
badly
went
at
to hit her this.
least.
He went to hit her this week, but then
Mm.
this was the interesting
That was
thing.
Stacey. I mean, Vicky
Oh,
might hit
Vicky.
Vicky, is what I was
Oh
wondering.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he sees these videos, and a big old row escalates. Interesting reaction from Joel at that point. Like, he started crying, and I thought he was faking it, but actually I think they were real tears.
Well, this is what I mean though with Joel. Does like how does he know what's wrong? Like for him, he's thinking, but these videos are wrong, and now he's saying there's something wrong with me. Is there something
Mm.
wrong with me? There's not. This is why I were a bit confused as to what he deems as right and wrong. But yeah, I guess maybe it's what he views as extreme. I think in some ways he knows what's wrong though, like you said, because that's
Yeah,
why he's chosen to show him quite a mild video. But I mean, do you not see? I even think him them viewing those clips together, you saw so many contradictions. Like Joel's just got in trouble for stealing beer from the Queen Vic.
yeah,
So then Ross's solution is, I'll sit down and let you have a beer at home
yeah.
with me and then watch a video. That in itself, it's like that would not have been the time to decide to share a beer with your kid. If you wanted to sit and watch the videos, fine, but maybe not
Mm.
with a beer. I
No,
understand where we were coming from trying to watch the videos as well.
yeah.
And again, we see it a bit later on with Harvey, but you can see that Ross has probably said the odd thing over the years. So
This is
Joel's
yeah. I
like,
thought
well.
Yeah, I thought the Harvey kind of parallel was really interesting actually, because actually
Very
that,
clever.
yeah, very cleverly done
Yeah.
that, because actually that's right.
Yeah.
Just like Aaron maybe started to pick up on some of Harvey's slightly dinosaur type
Casual
views.
racism,
Casual
inverted commas, let's
racism, and
say. Yeah.
microaggressions and all that kind of. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
microaggressions can do a lot more damage than I think you give credit to them
Hmm.
for, can't they? And I think actually
Yeah.
what's gone on with Ross has probably kind of contributed to that quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Joel has then taken that and gone off in a
Not to this
completely,
extreme.
yeah,
Yeah.
has gone off in a completely new
Like Aaron
direction.
did.
Yeah,
Exactly
exactly.
like
So
Aaron did.
I
Yeah.
think it's interesting. I think Ross actually could have really helped himself by actually just being completely honest with Harvey and saying, seeing
Yeah.
as
I
though Harvey
agree.
basically said my son's a racist terrorist, he could have turned around and
Yeah.
said, well, actually, my son's an incel, and they could have bonded over
Yeah.
that, and Harvey could have been a bit more helpful
He could
for
have
him.
given him some decent advice.
Yeah,
Yeah. The more specific advice. I agree with
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So he discovers these videos and then
Yes.
trashes Joel's laptop, like throws it in the
Hmm.
sink. And Joel's
Yeah.
like Joel's a mess. Like Joel's absolutely
Hmm.
devastated. And the next day, Vicky's furious because Joel's laptop's been destroyed. She doesn't quite know why until Ross
Yeah.
tells her. And when as soon as she finds out, Vicky's sort of like, "Ah, right, this all needs to be sorted. We need to sort this out." Then he has the conversation with Harvey, and then because Joel's just basically kind of lashing out everywhere this week. He apologizes to Kat, but that doesn't last very long because his views soon start coming out again when he
Hmm.
overhears Stacey and Vicky talking, and he basically just gets angry at women being against him and starts feeling really defensive about them. I think, isn't he?
Mm. Well, it starts because he's telling Vicky, I'm going home and like, don't you need to cook tea kind of thing. And they're
Yeah,
like, all right, you know where the freezer is? There's some
yeah,
chips in there kind of thing. And then he
yeah,
gets really angry, doesn't he? And he's like, well,
mm,
my dad's been at work all day.
yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah,
starting to come out a bit more though. He's not trying to hide this is what I mean. Sometimes he does know what's right and sometimes he doesn't. Like he
yeah.
knows to hide those videos of the women, but then he doesn't know that saying something like that is going to get such a big reaction in public. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm.
Or does he know and it's just more that he's not as afraid to speak up now and he thinks it's his duty to speak up on what he
Well,
supposedly thinks is right?
there's a term that's used in sort of the incel culture world apparently called swallowing the black pill, which basically means that
Yes. I thought
when
it was the
you,
red pill. Is
I
it the
think
black
I
pill?
think it's the black pill. I think. I mean the colour's irrelevant. It's a pill. It's the
There's a
incel
pill
pill. It's a
involved.
pill. It's a pill involved somewhere.
And it's not a good one.
No, it's a metaphorical pill. When you take the pill, you have basically now become fully absorbed into this world, and you sort of
Mm,
believe it. Like once you're at
yeah.
that stage where Joel is at the moment, like this is a guy that has taken this bloody pill, right? And so him and Stacey then start rowing because obviously he's being a chauvinistic dickhead, and
Hmm.
sort of the subject of Lily comes up, and then Stacey slaps him,
Hmm.
which is an issue because actually what that does is prove Joel's point about the hypocrisy of the societal hierarchies of the genders, I think.
I mean, in a way, well, because he says I'm a kid. I mean,
Mm,
would Stacey have done that had she not drank half a bottle of wine? Probably not. But also, come at a kid about come at a mum about a kid
yeah.
in the way that it was as well, which was horrendous. But even Kat, to be fair, said had he been a few years older, I would have hit him
Yeah,
earlier
yeah,
in the
yeah.
week for what he'd said to her.
Yeah.
I kind of get what you mean. It's almost justifying some of it for him, isn't it? You know, she's just slapped me, and then you're saying I can't hit a woman, but I'm a
Well, he
kid, and
goes
she
to
shouldn't hit
he
a
goes to
kid.
hit her back,
He
doesn't he?
does,
Like in full
doesn't
view of
he?
everybody. Like this is
Yeah.
we're bad. This is not good where we're at with
No,
Joel
it's
at all.
not, is it? But then, like you say, is that because he thinks, well, I'm going to defend myself, and
Yeah,
so maybe in his head, well, a kid can hit a woman if a woman's hit me, but would he view it as well when I'm a man, I can't hit a woman? I don't think he would distinguish
that's.
between that there.
I feel like that's a part of it though. He's say
You
he
do think
it's,
that's his
Oh, I
justification?
think so. He basically says that he doesn't say those exact words to Ross, but I feel like that's
Yeah.
very much part of his justification. It's just
Mm,
like, well, she can hit me, but I'm a man and I can't hit her. That's unfair. I can't defend myself. Is what, and there is a hypocrisy there that is how these worms go into these people's heads because
mm,
actually, he's wrong, but there is a sort of hypocrisy there that
mm.
allows the
I mean,
manipulations of the internet
yeah.
into these young kids.
I mean, Stacey shouldn't have hit him, let's be
No, of course
honest.
you
She
shouldn't.
shouldn't have, but you can understand why she did. Not that that is. a reason as to why,
But
but after all
actually,
the
can you
awful
understand what?
things he was saying.
But actually, can you understand why she did? Because she was in full view of everybody, and she was slapping. She's a fully grown woman slapping
Well,
a
Rob, this is what
teenager.
I'm always saying about women hitting men on
Well,
soaps. You
exactly.
know my views on
I
it. You were
do.
doing we're doing opposite way around a bit
I
right
do.
now, aren't
But
we?
this is what I
No, I
mean.
agree.
This is the
Yeah,
hypocrisy that he can grasp
yeah,
onto as proof of his thinking. You know.
yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, you're just giving him more justification for some of his
Mm,
views.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, after that, it's how Ross then handles Joel
Yes.
after what's just happened. And what does he do? In my eyes, rewards him again. So he's still the beer, rewards him with beer. Then he sees all the stuff on the laptop, sees everything that happens in the pub, and then gives him a new laptop
Yeah.
and tries to be his mate. Go on then. You think this is the exact right way to handle
No,
it, don't you?
I didn't say it was the right way to do it, but what I mean is I can completely
Yeah.
understand why he did. Because I think there is a very I think it's very easy to sit on the outside of this relationship and
Mm,
say what you think should be happening. But you know,
yeah.
as another parent, or even just
Mm,
even not as a parent. Nobody's doing that wrong. I wouldn't put up with this. You know, I think it's very easy to
yeah.
parent other people's children, you know. But when you are in that situation, and actually, I think what Ross is in the situation where exactly where Harvey was at this point, where he's trying to deny to himself that this is exactly where we're at. Like,
Mm,
there is nobody on earth that wants to admit that their child is this sort of person. So
mm.
I feel like you're kind of desperate because what does he do? He's tried being harsh, that doesn't work. He's tried doing the softly approach, that isn't going to work. Like how? Like obviously the solution, really, considering the videos he found, is to ring the police. But nobody is going to do that straight away for their kid unless it's the absolute last scenario that they find themselves for. I don't think.
Well, I'm sorry to say it, but I think Ross has been too much of a wet fart in this situation. I don't know if
Yeah,
international viewers will understand what I mean by that, but
I think they know what farts are
yeah,
broadly. Yeah,
right.
I think so. Wet
I,
farts, however, I don't know about that.
but it's like you say, it goes from one extreme. He acts out in anger, puts his laptop in the sink.
Yeah.
But for me, that were a bit of I want to get rid of all the
Yeah,
evidence in a way as
exactly.
well.
That's what that was
Mm.
about. That was about
And I
him to try.
understand
Yeah,
it. And like you say, no, don't go to the police. But at the same time, there needs to be a balance. I'm all for a bit of gentle parenting, which is what I was saying with you don't force somebody to say sorry. You
yeah,
make them understand what it is that they're sorry for. They've
mm,
got to understand the sorry before they say the sorry.
mm,
Otherwise, it's a meaningless word, really, isn't it? It's like saying thank you and not understanding why you're saying thank you. But at the same time, where's the line? Because like, come on, what Joel's doing is so extreme.
mm.
I just think, if like personally in this situation, I think Vicky's way would be too extreme as well, going in all
Yeah.
guns blazing. And dare I say, coming from a woman given the situation, would not be the right way to go about things.
See, this is interesting though because I kind of feel like what Joel actually needs is in a very sort of like
Yeah,
manufactured scenario where everybody is
yeah,
safe in the room, considering where he's at this
yeah.
point. But I feel like what he actually needs to do is sit and talk to a woman who knows exactly what conversation is going to is going to have to happen here, but actually talk to a woman who's not, because this is the other thing. All the women in his life are yelling at him at the moment, and that's not helping
Mm,
either. You know,
mm,
they're all attacking him, which again goes to his thing of his men versus women.
yeah.
So I feel like a woman needs to sit and talk to him and just be like, right, okay, tell me what you think. Go on, list it all down and let's talk about this. And so he can actually have a sensible conversation instead of constantly having to be on the defense with it, which completely and utterly perpetuates his point anyway.
Well, actually, this is so. I don't want. So I know of a person who I
Mm.
used to be friends with, and I'm not going to name names or anything
Go
or go
on,
into too much
go
details.
on, name them
But
and shame them. Go on.
I know a guy who I would view as an incel. Whether he would say that
Really?
himself, he wouldn't. Yeah, and I think it's passed down to his son, right?
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
To the point that I've heard that his son was having to go and have some child psychology
Wow. Really?
sessions because of their views. And I was thinking, I think that would be the take I would do if I was Ross and Vicky.
Yeah.
I would be getting him into a child psychologist because
Yeah.
I think his brain has been so changed now, because I think this is the danger with the incel stuff. Once they get to a certain stage, it's
Yeah,
hard to change
it's
somebody's beliefs, isn't
well,
it?
that's the point of the black pill. Yeah, the once that's the
Yeah,
thing that's
that's
molded your
it.
brain and just made
Yeah,
everything so topsy-turvy in your head where you just
yeah,
don't see it as any other way. And that's exactly where Joel
yeah.
is at the moment. And it's now scary as to where the hell he goes from here because of how far he already is. Which, by the way, they've paced perfectly, I think. Like I know
I agree. This has
we were
been
kicking
paced
off
perfectly. Yeah,
we were kicking off about pacing last week, but this has been beautifully
yeah,
done.
yeah. I agree with that. But yeah, so I think a child side. But then the thing I would say, so Ross has just given him this laptop. I'd be saying to him, this laptop's only being used when you're in the room with us and I can see exactly what's on your screen. No taking it upstairs in your room on your own. I'd
Mm.
be like putting it under lock and key, to be quite
Yeah,
honest
yeah,
with
yeah.
you. But then explaining why it is and saying, because I can't allow you to watch these videos
Mm.
anymore because it isn't right. And, explaining everything. Where it's going to go though, because so he's got this laptop, but then having said that, he's sat in dining rooms. He's found Stacey's secret cam. Is
That
she
didn't take
still?
long
Is
to.
that still open? Is that
Oh,
still
apparently so.
ongoing profile?
I thought she deleted that when Theo sort of was being
Yeah,
because she went to delete it and then Theo upped his game and said, "Is this because you're breaking up with your partner?" And that's how that all kind of snowballed. I thought
yeah,
she deleted this. Apparently not. It's still very much there, and Joel's just found
mm,
it because Tommy
mm,
told him about it. So
yeah,
Christ knows where we're going to be from here. But
yeah. This is what
but
I'm
in Joel's
wondering.
head, this proves his point because Stacey was a sex worker, and that's what he thinks all women are.
Yeah, it's not. But then it's like you said about swallowing that pill. Then you can change everything to suit your perspective because
Yep.
that's how you view everything, isn't it? So
Yep.
yeah, it just shows how dangerous it is. And like you say, a lot of stuff with the Slaters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so much of the Slaters is gonna. Like if you look through the Slaters' history through this dark lens, like Christ knows what we've got coming between Joel and the Slaters if Zoe is his mum.
well, I actually kind of hope she is now. We all this.
I mean,
It made
she
perfect sense
has
to
to
bring
be.
her in.
She
Yeah,
has to be. They've
yeah,
placed it all so perfectly for this to
yeah,
be a massive reveal. Yes, we've sort of guessed it, but at the same time, I don't think that takes away from how good it
yeah,
potentially could be when it's eventually revealed.
yeah.
One thing I'm surprised by with this story is that I don't think Tommy's going to be amazingly influenced by all this.
I hope not. I'll say something actually. That's something that surprised me. How was Kat just like when he said the slags comment to her, like, I don't take orders from slags. That
Yeah.
for me
Oh, that would have
should have
been
been
it.
when Kat were like, I don't care if you
Yeah.
apologise, you are not seeing my
Yeah.
son
Oh,
again.
yeah. 100%. Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
already found that content on Tommy's laptop. How
Yeah.
they've not
That would
added the
be.
dots together and
Yeah.
gone, it's clearly Joel. That'd be the point where I'd be
Well,
like, no
I mean,
return.
I don't think he's going back upstairs in the Vic ever again.
Not
After
now.
you'd hope not. You'd hope
Not after
not.
Cats get out of my pub line.
How did you feel about that?
I didn't like it.
No, I cringed
It
slightly. I've got to be
I
honest.
cringed. It should have been a bit more subtle. It was too like on cat and saying that line. Had it
I
just been a
mean,
bit more,
I don't know. I got it. I got why she said it. The thing
yeah,
is, though,
I did.
what are you supposed to actually say in that position? Like at the same time, yeah, I know it's so.
Please leave my
Yeah,
establishment at
exactly.
once.
She's not Annie Walker. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So actually, I guess it kind of makes sense. And it's a
Yeah.
very London
Yeah.
way of saying get out of my
Yeah.
pub. Do you know what I mean? So I guess you can't really actually
Mm.
bollock them too much for doing that. It makes sense, but it's sort of like,
As
oh,
long as it don't
okay,
keep happening and it's
yeah.
not a
As
recurring
long as they
thing, I
don't make
think.
it a cat
Yeah.
thing now to say, I
Yeah.
can take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, fascinating this storyline. I love every second of it. It's uncomfortable. It's awkward.
Very.
Max Murray is phenomenal.
Mm.
Um, long may it continue.
You're right. It's going to link into all the Ivani stuff though, because I do think if Ivani gets to the point where she can't have a termination,
Yeah.
then they see all this kicking off on the square with Joel. Maybe Priya and Ravi will agree to the Suki situation, or it'll be Priya saying no. They're my grandchild. I'm looking after them. Then it'll be a war between Suki and Priya,
Yeah.
perhaps. But
Yeah.
I do think the Joel stuff is definitely going to filter into it all somehow. Maybe we've got
100%.
a big thing coming with Joel.
I was going to say,
What do you
actually, if
think's
you
going to
look at where
happen?
Joel is at the minute, he's actually kind
Mm,
of quite a big character in the show at the minute, isn't he? He's got a lot of fingers in
yeah.
pies, so to
Fingers in
speak, isn't it?
pies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, watch this
Mm.
space. I'm kind of conscious to say this. Gold star this week, Ree.
Joel.
Yeah, same. And bearing in mind that I said last week that Suki doesn't deserve a gold star, even though Balvinda Soper was amazing. And yes, I'm Joel. I'm saying I'll give him a gold star. Am I an
Because
incel?
it,
Ree? Is that what's happened?
no, yeah, but we're not agreeing with any of it, are we? I think it's
No.
because he's showing such an important message. I think with
Yeah.
last week with Suki, we were just, if
Yeah.
we agreed with a storyline, we might have given it to Suki, but I think
Maybe.
because
Yeah.
of everything that happened with it
But
and
I
how
feel
rushed it
like
all was.
I have to
Yeah,
give it.
I agree with
I have to
Joel.
give it. I have to. We
Yeah.
both give it to Joel again. Yeah, it has to
Because we
happen,
hate
doesn't it?
him. He's doing such
Yeah.
a good job of
But
it.
he is so believable. Like this is
Yeah,
not a
very.
mustache twiddling villain. Like this is
No.
actually a really scarily accurate portrayal of somebody that you can totally believe is like this in real life.
Yeah, 100%. Very well, kind of well deserved gold star.
Kind of. I mean, it's happening. Two gold stars for the
Two are.
insult. There you go. Marvelous. Let us know who your gold star is going to, and let us know where the hell you think this somewhat scary storyline is going next. Last part of the podcast, ladies and gents, as usual, is comments from you.
Starting with a comment from Instagram from Dominique93, who says EastEnders has been focusing on the topic of masculinity in a few of its storylines in the last year, including Phil and Joel. And I think Howie's storyline will be another aspect of this. Perhaps how a man will act when he feels he isn't able to provide for his family. It will be interesting to see how it plays out.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, I didn't think of it like
Yeah,
that.
good angle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, Howie definitely does feel like he is somewhat emasculated. I think, like he doesn't feel like
Yeah.
he certainly doesn't feel on the same level as Vincent apparently was, does he?
Well, I think that's a massive part of it. Had he
Mm,
not overheard Kim and, been given this comparison to Vincent, who he probably already feels a little bit, what's the word, insuperior to, let's
yeah,
say.
yeah,
Yeah, I can see that working out, but I don't know whether they're going to take it from, it'd be good for him to take that angle and again test some of the masculinity, but I don't think that is where they're going to go. I think they're just going to take Howie down a plot where we're not
yeah,
like he's just going to keep stealing money maybe from people on the square. I think
yeah.
that's where it's leading for
Yeah, I
him.
don't I don't think it's going to have anything to do necessarily with Harvey's masculinity. I think it's just going to be essentially Harvey
Howie,
sulking.
Howie,
Howie,
yeah,
not Howie. Yeah, Howie
other
sulking
one,
a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah, the other one. And then sort of the results from that. I mean, it is a bit random in places this story, but I feel like I'm just pleased to give him a storyline because he's never had one
yeah.
before. So I'll take it.
But it would kind of, in fairness, it might justify what he's done if they did take the masculinity
Mm,
angle on it
yeah, it'd
and
be
him say, well,
interesting.
you know what, I felt like a inverted commas a useless provider for the family, and
Yeah,
if that's the angle he takes, and then Kim can, actually own up to, you know what, maybe I'm a bit too materialistic and didn't handle things the right way, and
yeah,
that could be a way of otherwise, but I don't think they are. But we could be proven wrong.
we
It
could
would be
be.
a better way to take it, I think.
Chris Shaw has said, Ross, I despair of you. Totally useless. At the very least, you and Vicky should be holding a united front because right now Joel is running rings around both of you. I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I
Mm.
again, I'm not saying that what Ross did this week was the right way of dealing with it whatsoever, but I can kind of understand the sort of desperation that he's in at the moment because he doesn't want to think of his son like this. He doesn't want to think that his son is putting women deliberately in danger. And actually, in a sense of masculinity himself, he wants to think that his word is enough to make this stop.
Yeah, which I understand, but at the same time, when you're a parent, you're the person who can arguably the only one who can turn your child around. You have to
Mm,
accept these things and act appropriately, which I just don't think he's doing. As for them showing a united front, I understand that as well. Because I think just because Joel is so clearly manipulating them both because he knows
yeah,
exactly how they both tick, doesn't he?
yeah, he
So he
does.
knows exactly what to say. He knows exactly
Except
how Vicky's going to go off.
see, the thing is, I don't think he does know when Vicky's going to go off. I think Vicky is the one sort of like crux in his life at the moment because I feel like he could if it was just him and Ross, I think he could muddle along fine and he'd be able to
Mm,
sort of keep Ross tied around his little finger. But Vicky is the one that kind of keeps untying him from around Joel's little finger. So, which is
true.
why I think that Vicky is in a lot of danger.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can definitely see that happening, and then not being able to defend herself either.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Oh, we're not going to go
Ooh.
down a bit of a Dean and Linda scenario, do you think?
I think that might, and I don't think it'll go all the way, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the ultimate climax of this story.
Yeah, because as well, like it could even be that Vicky decides to take a more, gentle approach, and then he
Yeah.
decides to misread that, perhaps.
And Vicky's already paid somebody off, which was the most insane thing she could possibly have done.
It was very un-Vicky-like, considering how she currently is, in a way,
Yeah, well,
wasn't
she
it?
she regrets that now, but I think it was more about her
True.
and Ross, which is why she did that rather than
Yeah.
her and
Yeah.
Joel. But I
Yeah.
think that from here on in, they're going to be, she especially is going to be watching Joel like a hawk, and I think that
Yeah.
that is going to put her in more danger than she thinks.
Agreed.
Right, ladies and gents, that's it for this week. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can do the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and wherever you find your podcasts. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
Yes, you can indeed. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. You, young lady, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Rob. I'm right excited. We'll take a selfie at the very
We
least,
will.
won't we?
I can't
Yeah,
imagine. I
come
don't know.
on.
Don't know how sober we'll be when we take it, but there'll be one.
Hopefully not very. We're not going to lie.
Can't wait, my darling. Can't wait to see you. And we'll be seeing you same time next week. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.